Hello and welcome. My name is Ruta. I am female coach, emotional well-being practitioner, trauma integration specialist, and holistic womb and feminine energy healing guide. And today we're talking about control of emotions. So, emotions are energy that you feel inside of you, which is connected to how close or far you are from the wanted or ideal state. From the metaphysical point of view, it means your higher self is somewhere there, and your physical self, your temporal self, is here, and you feel this gap between you, what you want, and where you actually are. And your emotions are a feedback mechanism how far or close you are from where you want to be. This is connected not only with what you want, but also observing the unwanted and also experiencing triggers on something that you might be experiencing in your reality. So it's not just about wishful thinking or how to manifest something, but it is about how you will learn to control your emotions. And the trick to it is quite simple. It's like anything else. How can you control something that you don't know and you don't understand? The first condition to learn to control your emotions is to understand your emotions. So when you feel emotion, if your primary objective is to stop that feeling and get away from it as soon as possible, you will not succeed in controlling your emotions because you don't even understand what is happening and why it's happening. Most of the people who ask this question, how can I control my emotions, do that because there is specific problem with some of the bad emotions. So for example, anger, for example, jealousy, something to do with guilt maybe, or shame, or anxiety. Saying and asking how to control tells me that you are currently feeling out of control. Getting back to the first step is to understanding. Why are you feeling and what are you feeling? So emotion is never on its own, and emotion is never there without a reason. So first thing that you will need to do is to learn to inquire why I'm feeling, what I'm feeling, why it is happening. What is the root cause of this emotion? That's first step in understanding what you're feeling. Next step is to stop being afraid of feeling those emotions. So imagine when you're trying to control anything. If you're afraid of that thing that you want to control, there is no chance that you can ever control it. The only way that you control something is when you learn not to be afraid of that thing that you want to control. It's the same as a racer feels about driving their car in a race. Imagine if that person who is racing, the racer, is afraid of the car. It cannot have or feel the control of the car. The same is with our emotions. If we are afraid of our emotions, we cannot even start getting hang on controlling our emotions because we simply don't even go there. So the second step is to stop being afraid of your emotions. Another bit here would be separating your emotion from being and feeling out of control. So emotion can be there and it can be very intense, that's one thing, and being and feeling out of control is completely different thing. So if you learn to feel emotion in its full intensity and not to be out of control of it, you're fine. Control is lost only when you allow the emotion completely take over you. So you allow complete takeover, and it's usually not because you're comfortable feeling it, or you have a capacity to feel it, but because you were resisting to feel it so much that now that emotion kind of hijacked you. When you build the tolerance in feeling emotion, is the same as building muscle in lifting the weight, then you don't need to be afraid of being or feeling out of control, because that's not going to happen. You're going to have a strong enough emotional muscle to feel that emotion, so you will not be taken over by that emotion. I have a free tutorial which you can watch about how to build emotional muscle. I'll put the link below. You can have a look and try it out for yourself. If you're asking this question, the chances are that you have not yet mastered feeling emotion and building that emotional muscle. The third bit is there is saying that between action and reaction there is a gap which is called choice. Control happens exactly in that gap. So in our life, when we are living, the chances that you will never feel triggered and never feel emotions that you don't want to feel is very, very slim. So the mastery starts and the real choice starts when we learn to pause between feeling and thing happening, whatever that thing triggers some emotions in us, and reacting. First, you start observing yourself. Okay, the situation is coming up. Okay, now I start to feel this emotion. And when you start to feel this emotion and you observe yourself feeling that emotion, you already disidentified from that emotion. It's a dual point of existing. This is not the same as suppressing emotion. Suppressing emotion is trying and avoiding feeling it. But when you are allowing yourself to feel the emotion or have that emotional reaction, at the same time observe yourself having that emotional reaction, you're not suppressing that emotion. So it gets experienced, it gets seen, and then it does not accumulate, which is exactly the reason why people usually explode. They have lots of accumulated emotional charge. So these three keys, these three pillars are required for you to learn to control your emotions. Emotions on itself, they really cannot do anything to you or to anyone else. They are not out there to get you. Emotions are simply a feedback mechanism to show you where you are, what thoughts are you having, and maybe there is some integration or trauma or trigger is happening in you, or maybe there is lots of emotional charge that has not yet been expressed by you. So first, by understanding your emotions. Second, by stop being afraid of feeling your emotions. And third, by learning to experiencing gap between the action and reaction, you will learn how to control your emotions. You will learn how to control your emotional reactivity. And as you do that, you become master of yourself. This is not to say that us normal people, we totally mastered our emotions or emotional responses. The triggers can still happen, emotional responses can still happen, but once you start learning about why emotions are happening, you stop being afraid of emotions, and then you also learn to experience that gap, that observation between action and reaction, you will find that having emotions is not really such a big deal or a problem. You will understand that they are happening for a reason. You will learn that there is nothing that you need to be afraid about the emotion itself, and you will also learn to have and experience that gap, that point of choice. You have this emotion, and now what do you do with it? So thank you for watching. My name is Ruta. I am female coach, emotional well-being practitioner, trauma integration specialist, and holistic womb and feminine energy healing enthusiast.